I don't have a lot of time. Okay, because my sister has a lot to do today, so she's gonna be here, and I don't stream for her privacy while she's here, and I'm talking about her. Okay, so right, try unblocking your Facebook and both of your phone numbers. Okay, for real. I don't want to keep this level of whatever nonsense going on from yesterday. Okay, you unblocked me. I don't know. This is why texting sometimes isn't good. Okay. Also, if you can call one of the numbers and leave a voicemail so I know it's actually you. As weird as that sounds, call one of the numbers and leave a voicemail so I know it's you actually texting me. As I said, someone literally tried to pretend to be my kid daughter, and my therapist said that even before I told my therapist that the person started just these horrifying insults and asked me if I have emails from Al, okay? She goes, I don't believe that's your daughter. Okay, so Brian Buchanan, if you're just realizing that they're criminals on social media that not only pretend with the fake names, they go into banned accounts. Yes. There's people taking people's photos and names and making up Facebook pages. There's people accessing banned Facebook's accounts and pretending to be other people, and they chat with people. Okay. That's what happened to my sister Cindy. Someone was pretending to be my kidnapped daughter through a Facebook, chatted with her, gave a phone number, or she was given the person he or she was given my phone number and began texting me. Okay. And my therapist immediately said, I don't believe that's your daughter. I don't believe it is either. Okay. I had to block the person because it was like, right. They can access photos online. Okay. And no, we never had a phone call. And it's been 15 years. So, right. Children's voices change as they grow into adulthood. Okay. So I don't know if you're telling me that you told the person to fuck off or you're saying you agree with what they're saying. I don't know if you unblocked me to insult me or just tell me something. You should have never blocked me on Facebook. I told you that. I mean, I don't mean to be an asshole and again start a problem again, but you're not getting it. You refuse to listen to me. You refuse to listen to reality. When you separate like that, they could just pretend to be you. Okay? Or shut, my phone's been shut off. Candy doesn't get my text sometimes. And they'll literally shut my phone service off. They're criminals. They're insane. Like you're not understanding what's going on in the world. Like you're in a denial because obviously it's frightening. I just explain to people that Almighty God is getting rid of them. You don't have to worry about this going on forever and why they're doing it. There's various different reasons because of denial and brain disease. That's my job. Okay. I don't uh per se diagnose people because it's sort of an improper term. So if I've used that term before, I apologize. Okay. I explained to you about having 3 semesters shy of a bachelor's degree in psychology. So when you go to see Ben, okay, Volunteers of America, he is a licensed social worker. He doesn't have a bachelor's degree in psychology. 3 semesters is not a lot. That's a year and a half out of 4 years. Okay. And I explained why they won't let me do it even when college is free, because then they have to question and they can't say these things to me about I'm not a therapist. I wouldn't be a therapist anyway. I chose a BS and not a BA because I have a science background. I don't have a liberal arts background that I already completed in college. I have a science background. I majored in nutrition which is a science. It's chemistry and biology. And there's a lot of classes you have to take to be a dietitian that match up to psychology. Okay. Then, when I was in college, I'm just explaining myself, Brian. When I was in college, okay, I thought that I was going to transfer to a different college and change my major to be a nurse practitioner. The same thing that Nick does. The same job the person who just dealt with you at Bourne would. Okay. So I began taking some of the classes in preparation of transferring. So that's why a lot of the classes match up. Okay. Just so that you know, I have classes outside of a nutrition degree because I was going to change my major. So you have to take sociology and psychology to be a dietitian. And some of those you have to take to be a nurse. Okay. I also have chemistry, some communications, and some art courses. Okay. Right. That's why I'm only 3 semesters shy of a degree in psychology. They do not have those degrees. They take a lot other classes for sociology I didn't take, but I've taken sociology in college. Okay? Hopefully you understand that. Okay. So, in order to be a psychiatrist, you have to have a medical degree. Okay. Psychologists have a degree in psychology. They may have a degree in something else and then get a master's degree in psychology, which is 2 years. Some of them have doctorates, but they're not psychiatrists. You could have a nurse practitioner that they don't have a degree in psychology. I don't know if they tried to get a master's in psychology. They'd probably be a psychiatric nurse at that point because of the money involved. They're not at Minute Health writing prescriptions. That's why they don't give you psychiatric counseling. Bournewood used to have psychiatric nurses. I'm familiar with psychiatric nurses because I've been in a psychiatric hospital a couple of times. Okay, that's not what we're getting for our mental health. So people that were involved in mental health before understand that when we go into the system again, we go, what is this? All due respect. Okay. Yeah, all due respect. Um, I've had a lot of therapy in my life, Brian Buchanan. I don't run from it. Okay, since basically junior high school. Okay, so anyway, right, I'm not sure if you unblocked me to insult me or to just. I'm familiar with that picture. It's probably someone that's commented to me before, and it's a mentally ill person. I explained what happened to you with the friend of Jerry's that I'm familiar with. He was hanging out with her. She was sleeping in his ATM with her boyfriend, and now she thinks that she's his clinician. He had to get away from her. As she probably still uses her real first and last name. So, Bournewood Hospital gave me a diagnosis. Okay. Post traumatic, they wrote PTSD, and I'll explain to you. The psychiatrist said, what am I supposed to write here? That is what the psychiatrist said to me after a week there. It was more than one psychiatrist, but the one at the end said, what am I supposed to write here? And I said, PTSD. Right. PTSD and hypertension. So that's what he put. Okay. I have polycystic kidney disease, polycystic liver disease, and hypertension. I mean, I guess I probably still have post traumatic stress disorder, but okay. Whereas you spent a month in a hospital and you and I both requested for you to have psychiatric care. So you were observed for an entire month by a psychiatric team. And your psychiatrist told me, and you were in the room, that your diagnosis is you're a drug addict. That is what you were told as a diagnosis. Minute Health can't give you a diagnosis they're not qualified to. Okay? Ben can't because he's a licensed social worker. I was told by my therapist they can't change your meds either. They can't give you a new diagnosis. Okay, so it sounds good that Scholastica didn't give you Adderall if you're telling the truth, because that's no longer on your list of prescriptions. Jesus Christ, man. What the fuck? Hi. I guess so. She just stepped out for a minute to go to the store, so.
Okay. Let her know.
Yeah.
When you get a chance. He said, tell her Harriet did a nice job advertising. There's a thing on the door about a craft fair going on down there. Okay. Well, there's nothing going on down there.
Oh, they did it this morning. It was this morning.
Well, there's nothing going on there now.
No, they did. It was like early this morning. Candy went to it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Sorry. I don't know if they had a time or something. Yeah.
It said like 10 o'clock. I mean, it says usually it's going on for a few hours, so.
Yeah, no, it's 3 now. I think they said it wasn't going to be that long. Candy went at basically 10, so okay. I don't know what time they ended it. Oh, sorry, okay. You missed it.
No, that's all right.
Candy and Hope could do their own crap there.
Yeah.
It's probably all about permissions down there.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
Oh, no, no. You're not going to. What I didn't care that I missed it. I was already shopping anyway. So.
Yeah. Well, tomorrow's the party, so yeah. Don't miss that. I think it's at 2, no, but they have signs, so
that's all right.
Don't take my word for it.
Yeah, oh, yeah. I already planned on going to that.
Yeah. Thank you, Nancy. Anytime. Have a good walk, Rocky.
No, that didn't bother me. You guys using my refrigerator.
Oh, yeah. I forgot about it already. Thank you. Well, I'm not cooking it today. I know that because she's doing all the cooking for the party tomorrow today.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. It's going to take a couple days in the fridge anyway. But thank you. Yeah, I really appreciate that. It's not too bad out. I was just out there. Have a good one.
Oh, he won't be so dumb. Let me tell you. He'll go up to his thing and turn around and bolt back.
Yeah.
I love how he does that too.
Yeah.
They're a lot smarter than what they give him credit for.
Behave.
Come on.
Thank you.
Anytime.
Oh yeah, that's the shit. Will just completely make me mind. Yeah. Right. Why would you wait till she went out and you can hear me talking? I know you just go and it's like everybody wants to talk to me. Usually it doesn't bother me, but I have to have a bunch of time to do this. I have to like do a sabbatical after doing one of these. This has been a very long stretch. I have been out there, as you call it, since April of 2024. Oh yeah, just so Brian, okay, in terms of trying to get to you actual psychotherapy, okay, you refuse to stop using and you seem unaware of reality. I don't know if I would say you have delusional disorder. I think you're in a denial. Yeah, I wouldn't say you have delusional disorder. Okay, maybe the person texted on Facebook talking to you has delusional disorder. Okay, um, I wouldn't say you have delusional disorder, and that's not what the psychiatrist said. The psychiatrist said you're a drug addict. I don't know if you remember me having that conversation with you in the room with her, and I asked, what should I consider this? Okay. And because you weren't sober for a long period of time, she said drug addict. Okay. So I would have to basically report to her what you've been doing for 5 months. I can't diagnose you. Okay. I wouldn't say you have delusional disorder. I think, like I told you, that you have severe attachment disorder leading to psychopathy. Okay. And the psychopathy is sort of like this, and that you're a drug addict. Okay. I think that you're in a complete denial about your actual upbringing and your abuse. Okay. And that you keep running away from any type of caring for anyone. Okay. Some of you get real smug like that. Yes. I call them grandma's debit card people. But yours is way worse. That's why I had so much compassion for you. After a while, you're using that compassion so much to manipulate me and abuse me. That's why I told you I'm taking a break. Okay. Why would you block me? I'm not understanding that. Okay. Sometimes people block someone because they can't stop contacting them. Okay. Sometimes I've seen people doing that. They block them because they can't stop contacting them and they don't want to face that the person is not engaging in what they're doing. They don't want to deal with it because it's so hurtful. It seems sort of like you were doing that yesterday with the rapid fire stuff and then making up a reason you're done. Okay. But then yet still accusing me of being insecure and stuff like you did at couples counseling. So that can't make sense. If you keep doing that to a person, of course she's going to be insecure in your relationship. Of course. Okay? The issue is you're a drug addict and I'm not. So why is that? Okay. Why are you a drug addict and I'm not? I tried to explain it to you. There are some people that have to completely have no contact with their genetic family in order to recover. And it's very difficult for primates to do that. So some of them die. Okay, and then their genetic family goes, "Oh, it's too bad." Like Aaron Carter, it's too bad they could never come around because he wouldn't stop keeping contact with his genetic family. Okay, so that's why. It's not all cases, but a lot. When you have severe child abuse like that, okay, even in recovery, you can still be triggered to it if you're forced to be around them. So I really would like a little bit more calm exchange of thoughts and ideas that you tried to present to me a different set of thoughts and ideas. Okay. So I'm not sure by your text from yesterday. Okay. It would make sense you'd go into a panic frenzy if I was touching on things you don't like. Okay. Um, you could even possibly have that in a therapist's office where, yes, I've had it happen before with my friend Jen. Okay. When you hit the nail on something, the person flips out. That's common. And then it becomes a judgment on you that I'm not a therapist. Okay. So sorry, Jen, but you help me when I'm talking with other people. Okay. It's really uh having a relationship and a friendship with you, Jen, has been very beneficial to other people. So thank you for putting up with me. Okay. I try to not mention your name per se, and sometimes I forget. I'm sorry. Um, I'm not a therapist. Okay, so this is what happens. Okay. A lot of priests and nuns are actual therapists, by the way. Okay. Why did you tell me all of that stuff and then flip out when I respond and say I'm not a therapist? Because you're treating me like your mother. That's what you're doing. Okay. Because you want my approval and you want my advice. And that part of it's okay, but then I have a chance to talk. And it's not appropriate to abuse me at that point. Okay? It's not appropriate to. I wouldn't know all those things about you, Brian, had you not told me. Okay. So, an actual therapist thing for you, which you wouldn't be doing with a romantic partner, can't be a therapist. Okay. That's, you have way too much stuff that you don't want your romantic partner, you don't want your wife to know about. I understand that, but you're not talking to Ben about it. Okay. Um, I don't know if they're about to come back. I just got a blank. Okay. I guess maybe we're at that if we're done with Brian at that point. I wanted to add this to the video for Brian. Okay. And people that are saying that people are delusional. Okay. Ron DeSantis, Casey DeSantis, and if you get confused, I'll explain it again. Don't just go, I don't understand what you're saying. Okay, because then your doctor's going to tell you that you have cognitive decline. You're going to get a diagnosis of early onset dementia, which you might need. Okay. If you can't understand, Ron DeSantis is the governor of Florida. That's one. Two, his wife's name is Casey DeSantis. Three, Casey DeSantis worked with my ex-husband at the Golf Channel together. Four, Florida alimony laws. Okay, if you can't understand that and you're serious about it and you're not in a denial, okay, you're having issues with your brain processing. Okay, that shouldn't be going on. Okay, so why did I lose my children? Not from drinking. I guess that was it. Maybe Brian understands that because I've explained it a bunch of times. And then what happens, I think, but I think for him it's an excuse, I gotta say, because if I'm crazy, then nothing I said about your psychology is true. Okay. Um, like some of the ways that you tell me things, I can tell that you haven't resolved your childhood sexual abuse. Okay. You just haven't, and that's why you can't stop using. And you can't attach to me because you're having sort of like a flashback of a different relationship, whether it's who you're calling raggedy or your mother or an abuser or something. Like it's a relationship And that's why I go sort of towards the mother, but it could be both. It's a relationship that the separation of that is so hurtful to you that you don't want to experience that again. Now, you told me you had a dream when you were still here that I wouldn't stop doing fucked up shit, but that in the dream, okay, it was Raggedy. It wasn't me. Okay. And in the dream, you sort of knew that. So I think that that's God talking to you. That's the way he's doing it because it's acceptable in a dream state. Okay. So, in my opinion, okay, he's either explaining to you, um, you're having a problem in my relationship with you still because of that. Okay. Um, or something has happened where you're confusing who you're actually married to, and this is my concern. Okay. I was told later on, just so everyone knows, that this Alicia person used to do her hair burgundy like that. I had no idea, and that's why I don't do it burgundy anymore. So, my concern that you can put a stop to by stopping this whacked out behavior on your Facebook pages, okay, is you need to delete the one that I can still view, because that's the old Brian that doesn't exist anymore. That's your old life, okay? And have the other one up there. Because I knew it was weird that you would never re-add me as a friend at some point in time, but it still has a photo of you with the woman with burgundy hair and it says you're married. That's concerning to me. And you should understand what I'm saying. Okay. Like you're still stuck in a fantasy where you're with her and you won't let it go. You will not just go bloop with the weird wrestling and all that crap and all the weird dress and the old Brian. You just won't go bloop and get rid of it. And then go, now I got this, which you're probably going to have to start over too. I explained recovery is here's Brian Buchanan with his wife. That's it. Because that's what Brian Buchanan has himself and his wife. That's it. Okay. People start, I have me and Jerry. And then sometimes I find Jen. It's a part of recovery. Not you have all these friends and nope. Okay? We don't have Ryan from Gavin, the guy looking for cigarettes. That is exactly what we do. Okay? So that's an ongoing issue with Brian and others. Okay. I explained to you my other Facebook page, Brian. Okay. They banned me from that in 2022. I had at one point the most you can have is 5,000, and it was maxed out. All of a sudden, one day I was flooded with them because people were blocking people from adding me as a friend. It went on for years. They tried to make me think then that nobody was listening to me. It's some kind of a weird phenomenon they're having in their denial. No one was listening to me. No one agrees with me. Okay. They kept it at like 200 friends for a couple of years. And then all of a sudden, one day, it was the floodgates. And I think also what they did is they used a computer system to make up fake accounts. Because once you get to 5,000 or just so many, no one can see a real person trying to friend you, including my children. Okay, so that should make sense in terms of what you're calling hacking. Okay, so unfortunately, a lot of stuff has been deleted over the years, various laptops, and them constantly basically trying to trick you to delete photos and videos because it's part of their insanity. It happens. But once I explain to you what you're doing, um, in the beginning, they were told to talk to their doctor, Brian. Okay, why isn't that person saying, right? You don't have to tell them anything. I mean, clearly, Brian, a doctor doesn't uses a fake name. Okay. You would just add whatever. I had a therapist for a year. That's part of the reason why I thought we did it, so that people would stop saying that. Okay. It's just, it becomes, "That's insane," and people reassuring me that I'm not insane, Brian. My therapist never said, "You're delusional." She's always like, "What?" And sometimes some of the stuff you tried to tell me. Okay. So, um, I want to know, this is not about your sexual abuse, okay, but it might be. But we'll start off with this. I want to know, in April, when we were at the warming center, who gave you, I'm thinking crack cocaine. Who gave you drugs that you weren't part of your prescribed medication? That's I want to know that, and then I also want to know who gave you drugs in November. That's what I want to know. It's important to me. If you wanted to know something about me and you said it was important to you, I'd tell you. Okay? So I do believe that I will find out, because I'll tell you a little story again, real quick, before my sister comes back. And you just have to think I'm completely making it up, which some people do make up stories. Okay. When I went to Albuquerque, New Mexico, with my 154 pounds, all muscle, right? I weigh 137 about. So just imagine 154, all muscles, especially in my midsection. And I was walking, what did I say? It was 26 miles a day. And I'm carrying stuff. And then sometimes I'd use a stroller, and I'd go up to people and go, "Would you like a soda? Would you like a salsa?" Because I had stuff. That's what I was doing out there. And they're like, kind of thought it was like, okay, like I'm in the Red Cross or something. And so I'd park my stroller outside of Smith's, which is a grocery store in Albuquerque. And I went in and I came out and someone had ransacked my stroller, all right, and stole stuff. I had like razors, everything, right? And I was using the public library at the time, okay? And I went on the thing and I went, "Do, do, 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 Vicky," okay? I don't know. I think it was the next day. This woman came into the library and she was clearly manic, and she might have been on crack cocaine herself. And she's talking, 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 talking. And I'd ask her if that's what she was saying, and she'd shake her head like this, because other people probably couldn't understand her. She's the one who did it. I asked her what her name was, and she told me. So God made her come into the library and present herself to me. Okay, so I don't know how else you can explain that other than that's a coincidence that I typed the person's name. That's not a coincidence. Okay. So in certain situations, because it might have helped her or helped me at the time, something, or whoever was paying attention went, "What the fuck?" Um, in certain situations, God will do that. Okay. He will actually say a name like that. It does happen. Okay. So I'm not going to play guessing games. Someone's going to actually tell me. Like I explained it when you got hit in the head with the hammer. You might have not have been paying attention. Okay. That afterwards, for some, everyone was scanning their minds. Who is this person? And I just, for some reason, remembered that conversation at the shelter that I knew was weird at the time, because it's like a sense, and it's just over the years. Okay, it's not esp. Over the years, you get a sense when you're when you're streetwise, you get a sense of things, and you know things that are off. When I was going into the shelter and the guy was sitting on the stairs, we've seen him before. I didn't know his name. Okay, and that, but he knows us, right? And he's saying, "Oh, you got in the shelter?" And I said, "Yeah." And then he turned and said, "Oh, did you cry?" And I thought that was weird that he was asking Brian if he cried, like saying he's a pussy boy. Is he upset that I got in the shelter and he didn't? And then he goes, "I've been trying to get in the shelter for 2 years and I just knew that there was an issue there. Okay. And it turned out that's the guy. I knew it. God showed it to me. It's like a video in my head that I knew it was that guy. Okay. So eventually, I get the person's name from the police department. I still don't know who it is. He showed up at the shelter, stood up, walked up, and said, "Are you Brian's girl? Brian's your boyfriend?" I go, "That's my husband, not my boyfriend." And he goes, "Yeah, I'm the one who did it." And he said that you pulled a knife on him. So he's telling me why he did it. He's confessing that he did it and why he did it to me. Okay, so God forces people to do it. So if I really want to know something that's important to me, I'll find out. Okay, so I believe that it's probably got something to do with the warming center. Okay. And clearly this person doesn't want me to know that they did something or whatever, but you're gonna admit that you did it. Because if Brian doesn't himself tell me, you're gonna admit you did it. Because I want to know. It's important to me. Um, when we were at the warming center, I thought that things were going well. He was still using Adderall and smoking pot, but I thought things were going well. We were super cutesy. It seemed like the people, remember, they were saving us the mats, all of that. I think God might be explaining it to you a little bit when you were texting me about Steve and how we were in the corner and stuff. Okay. So I believe it's something to do with that. Okay. About envy and psychopathy and people that seek revenge on people and stuff. Okay. So I think I'm going to be told who did it. Okay. So anyway, um, went over again today on the walk about the night that you said you were going to smoke a cigarette. And I said, "Why would you be doing that? You literally never did it any other time before or after that night. And then you got angry and started calling me paranoid and shit because you're a fucking drug addict. And I would think you would care. I ended up having a massive panic attack and I didn't want you the fuck near me because you were so fucking mean. You would think you would never touch drugs again after that night. But then it got worse. Then it got worse when we went to Porter and you made up you're checking out some chick's legs. Why don't you dress like that? And then I started literally fucking shaking and you said, "Go shake over there." You weren't going to stop until I left because you're a drug addict. So that's when I knew that you did something. You did something that either did permanently disconnect the marriage or you believed that it did. And you're going to tell me what it is because I want to know. Okay? See why I want to know who gave you the drugs? Because whoever gave you the drugs destroyed your life. That's why. Whoever gave you the drugs in April destroyed your fucking life. Because we were getting along well then. And you weren't even off Adderall and pot yet. Oh yeah, I have pictures. We're riding the train. We're in the warming center every night. We were getting along fine. We weren't having fights. No, we weren't. And you were all super cutesy and kissing and stuff. So I want to know who destroyed your life and attempted to destroy your marriage. I want to know who that person is, and you're going to tell me. Okay? You're going to tell me, or the person's going to tell me. Because obviously, then at Porter it was, and then you did stuff that you're so horrified by you don't want to tell anyone. So it is important. Okay? Right. So I think that person should have to admit it, and then you know that you have no chance of existing in the kingdom of heaven, right? Here she is. You're not going to be forgiven. Okay? Whoever gave Brian Buchanan drugs in April, and then whoever did it in November, but in particular in April, because I know just something horrifying happened. God's just killing you. Okay? Maybe a snake or a snail. So